Alright, today's video is putting in the 05 to 2010 seats of the newer style Mustang into the older style 94 through 04 Mustang using Adaptor Designs adapter plates that could be bought on eBay through CyberYard and at OEMcarandtruckseats.com. So that's today's project. Taking newer style seats, putting them into the older style car. Alright, the first step would be to remove the old Mustang seats. These things are, if you do own a Mustang, these are uncomfortable. You hit every bump and you feel it. With the newer seats, it will give you more leg room because the track actually moves back and forth in a longer range. And also the foam and the spring system is a lot different from back in the older days, and it's a lot more comfortable. As you can see, these seats do wrap around you a little bit better, have a lot more foam and a better spring system below it, and that's what's going to make you a little more comfortable. And actually they look a lot more sportier than the old style Mustang seats. Okay, now since the seats are removed, good time to get a little vacuum, get all that old dust and whatever you had under the seats, time to get it out. Okay, you're left in the back. There's two bolts holding the back of the seat on, and there's your two bolt holes. And in the front there should be two studs. In this case, sometimes the stud comes out, so you're left with the hole. Anyways, either or, it does. You should have two studs just sticking there, but sometimes the stud comes out, so nothing to worry about. It'll still work. And this is what we're left in this car, with the stud and one nut for that stud. Same on this side. One of the studs came out, and one's still there. And then you'll have the two bolts for the two back holes. And now we're going to install the newer seats into the older Mustang. Okay, the first thing we did is simply set in your driver's seat, and I'm going to explain some wires to you. Here's the connector from the car. The two smaller ones are for the seat belt, so it closes the circuit so your light doesn't go on or it beeps. The two thicker ones, the green and black, right here, that's what you're going to tap into for power, which will also match on the 05 through 2010, the newer seats. There's also black and green. It's the two thickest wires. The red and white is for the airbag. If your seats have airbags, stay away from these wires. There's nothing to hook these up to. You originally didn't have airbags, and you're not again. So, and some of the newer seats didn't have airbags, and they had like an airbag shunt, and that's that yellow thing right there. The two striped small ones are for your seat belt, and that will be tapped into the green, and this gray and blue striped one. So these two get, the two thin ones go to these two, and black and green thick ones go to the black and green thick ones here. There's also another sensor on the newer seats. That's what the yellow and green wire for. You're not going to use that either. That's to tell how close the seat is to the front airbag, so that it doesn't deploy as fast. So these two you're not going to even need. Obviously the red and white you're not going to need, because that's for the airbag or the airbag shunt. So now you're down to 4 wires, 2 thins, 2 thicks, 2 thicks, 2 thins, and you're all set. We're just going to tap right into the system here. And that's it for the wiring. And then we'll show you how to bolt everything in. Do the wiring first, and if you have a battery, you can hook up the battery just so that you have power to it. So the red is positive, which goes to the green, as you can see, and the black is the negative. Now you have power functions, so the seat goes back and forth. It'll make your life a lot easier temporarily while you're working on putting the bolts in. So we're going to start the bolts in the front and get this driver's side in. Okay, position that all the way to the front. Now you can start your back bolts. Move everything around, and also the bolts in the back of the adapter plates, those are loose also. Just keep, those are just snug. You can still move everything around. Make sure you start everything by hand so that you don't cross thread anything. And now it's time for your second rear bolt. Helps if you lift that up a little bit. Okay, everything started? Okay, everything started in. And just check everything. You know, there's a lot of slop in these adapter plates so that you can adjust things, but everything looks right. So now we're going to torque down the rear bolts. Okay, now that everything's tightened up, all you have is the back ones to do. And now we're going to position the seat all the way forward. Okay, we got everything torqued down. If you notice that we have different bolts in the car now, we did cross thread the bolts, and therefore had to go to a bigger size bolt. So be careful not to cross thread them. And just everything's loose, so you just jiggle it in and with the adapter plates, and then start your bolt. Make sure your fingers start it, or you're going to be in our situation where we had to go to a different size bolt to lock everything down. Okay, we put the back bolts in. Now we're on the fronts. We want to tighten down, so we have everything adjusted the way we want it. And we're not going to tighten down these main bolts yet. We have to tighten down the two in the front. So there's one there and one right there. So we have to lift the seat up. So we're gonna unloosen the bolts and the studs, and the bolts on the studs. And then we will go and tighten up the two, one here and one right over there. Tighten those up from down below. After you remove the bolts from the floor, you just lift up the seat a little bit. Take care of your first one. Just use a ratchet, it's a lot easier. You don't have much to do. The top part is locked in already. You're loosening it there, big guy. Flip the wrench over. There you go. Don't loosen, tighten. That's righty tighty, lefty loosey. Okay, let's do one side. Get that snug against the track. Okay, there you go. And then we'll work our way over to this side. If you put the wrench on the proper way, then he'll be tightening again. Okay. And it's torqued down. Okay, now you're going to lay the seat back down, right on the studs. There we go. And then we'll put the bolts back in.